Hi there, this is Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, and in this tutorial I am going to show you how I like to work the bark 4-stitch increase, which is a double increase, really a quadruple increase in brioche knitting. So we are going to start with 1 stitch and we're going to add 4 to it. So I'm going to begin this demonstration holding my working yarn in my right hand for English style knitting, and then I will demonstrate it again on the second half of the swatch using the yarn in my left hand for continental knitting. So we want to begin by just knitting our edge stitch, which is not part of the brioche, it's just kind of like the framework of our brioche. And we want to bring our yarn forward, slip 1, yarn over, bark 1. And if you're new to brioche, I will link my brioche tutorial playlist for you below so that you can see some of the beginner brioche tutorials as well. I have now slipped another stitch and I am now going to work my increase into this column here. So my yarn was forward and I slipped the stitch for a slip 1 yarn over, which comes before our bark 4 stitch increase. I am now going to insert my right needle tip into both this stitch and the yarn over, just like you would to bark. But once you bark, this is where we pause, we don't drop anything off our needles, and we bring our yarn forward between our needle tips for a yarn over. Now we're going to bark into this stitch again. And again, we're going to stop here without dropping anything off of the left hand needle. And we need to do 1 more yarn over. So you bring that yarn right back in front of your right needle through the tips for our yarn over. And now bark into the stitch 1 last time. And now you can pull it off. So here is our knit column, and once we had 1 stitch, we've now added 4 more, because in brioche, since it is a 2-stitch repeat, we want to increase and decrease by multiples of 2. So we just work in and out of this 1 stitch again and again with yarn overs in between each time we knit, so that we can increase to the number of stitches we want. So now let's show that continental style, and then I'll show you how we come through and resolve this with our contrast color. So I am going to slip 1, yarn over, brioche knit, slip 1, yarn over, brioche knit, slip 1, yarn over, and let's do our increase. So I am going to insert my right hand needle into both the stitch and the yarn over to bark. I'm not going to drop anything off. I'm going to bring my yarn in front of my right needle, going between my needle tips for a yarn over, and I'm going to bark right back into the same stitch. And then I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to bring my yarn forward through my needle tips for a yarn over and bark into the same stitch 1 last time. Now I can pull it off my left hand needle. So where once I had 1 stitch, I have now added 4 more. And now I'm just going to work to the end, slip 1 yarn over, bark 1, slip 1 yarn over, and I'm just going to knit my edge stitch. In 2-color brioche, we always work each side of a row twice before turning. So I'm now going to slide my work down so that I can use my contrast color and resolve these new stitches. So I'm going to go back to English style for the first half of the swatch, and then back to continental for the second half. I'm going to slip my edge stitch, and I need to begin by purling, brioche purling, this first slip 1 yarn over created on the first pass of my row. Slip 1 yarn over, brioche purl, and now I am to my new stitches. So for my new stitches, I am going to do slip 1, yarn over, purl 1, slip 1, yarn over, purl 1, slip 1, yarn over, burp 1, and I'm back in to my brioche, slip 1, yarn over, burp 1, and I'm going to go ahead and switch back to continental style knitting now with my yarn in my left hand. Slip 1, yarn over, burp 1. I'm to my new stitches, so I can slip 1, yarn over, purl 1. A little more slack over here. Slip 1, yarn over, purl 1. Slip 1, yarn over, burp 1. Slip 1, yarn over, burp 1. And then just slip my last stitch. And so now all my new stitches are set up, ready to go. Keep working in straight brioche from there. So that is how you do a bark 4-stitch increase. Happy knitting!